morning, and thank you guys for joining me this fantastic Thursday morning. Thoughtful Thursday. I hope everyone is having or has had a fantastic day out there. And for our topic for Thursday, um, we're discussing, are your actions aligned with your purpose? Are you aligned? All right. And I have this conversation all the time with people about alignment. All right. And your being aligned in your life is one of the best things that you can do. I can tell you as a man, but just as a person in general, being aligned with your particular purpose. I'm just trying to pin this up really quick. And so, um, are your actions aligned with your purpose? All right. Do your actions make sense? When you wake up every single day, do your actions make sense with regards to where you want to go in life? Okay? Are your daily actions bringing you closer to your ultimate goal of where you want to get and your overall vision for your life? A lot of people do not have an overall vision for their lives. And that's why it's so important to ask yourself that question because I had a conversation with someone and I said, in life, you will find that life will present you with a lot of options. Okay, a lot of options, and but there's a big difference between options and opportunities. Okay, so for example, if my ultimate goal is I want to go northbound, all right, I'm in Miami. If I want to get to New York, right, there are multiple options as far as routes and roads that I can take, but only a select few of those options are going to give me the opportunity to go where I want to go. And so I need to narrow down those options. And how do I narrow down those options? The number one thing you need to ask yourself when you're asking, am I aligned, is what do I want out of life? I mean, I did a live a couple of days back, a couple of months back, sorry, not days, where I asked a simple question. Number one, what do you want out of life and why? Because that clarity of what you want puts into perspective everything else. Because if you want to go north and there's an opportunity for you to go east, west, south, southeast, none of those things are viable opportunities to give you what you want. They're just options, and it makes it very easy to ignore. So the first step in knowing whether or not you're aligned is asking yourself or figuring out, where am I going? Where do I want to go? What do I want? What is my ultimate vision for myself? All right. Because when you have that ultimate goal, it's very easy. You can ask yourself, will this action move me towards this goal? And for a lot of people, the answer is no. A lot of people's actions on a daily basis are counterproductive to what they say they want most out of life. All right. So, where do you want to go? Who are you? Where do you want to go? The other thing about alignment that a lot of people don't like, all right, is the next question. How did I get where I am today? That is that accountability part. That is that acknowledgement part of your past actions, your past wins, losses, the good, the bad, but most especially the bad, because a lot of people will look up and pretend as if they just miraculously appeared where they are. No, there were certain actions, certain patterns, certain habits that you have had over the last month, year, 3 years, 5 years, decade, that have landed you where you are right now. And unless you acknowledge those actions, come to grips with your part and the part you played in those actions, you will find yourself 5 years from now in the exact same place if you do not change those actions. Where you are right now is a direct result of of the things you've done over the last couple of years. Okay? If you do not like where you are, then that means the only way to be somewhere different is to change that. All right? And that's sometimes the hard part for people is that acknowledgement of the past. What part did you play in your not so good outcomes? Are you willing to acknowledge that? Are you willing to admit that? Are you willing to learn from those things and adjust? Okay. And that leads to the third part. So what are you currently doing now? Are you doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result? Because that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people never learn from their past. A lot of people keep repeating and repeating and repeating and yet expecting a different result. It doesn't work like that. Once you acknowledge your past, once you acknowledge the mistakes, you take accountability for your mistakes, you accept them, because everybody makes mistakes. No one's infallible, all right? But we have to accept the fact that we made these mistakes, find out why we did it. I always had this saying, if you can't tell me why you did it, you can't tell me why you won't do it again. What are the things that led you to that? What are the triggering things that led you to that? Fix those things. Even if it's just a mindset, change your mindset, change your perspective. A lot of times that's the biggest part of our change or our maturation in life is not a monumental physical thing, it's a mental thing. It's a perspective change. It's an acknowledgement. It's a realization. And a lot of times we get that acknowledgement, that realization as we mature. But the only way we actually do mature is if we actually learn from our experiences, we learn from our past. Okay? So, how did you get here? And what are you doing now? Because if the actions that you're doing now, right, are not aligned with that ultimate first question, what you want, then you need to change your actions. And that leads to the last one. What's next? What's next is a new plan. What's next is a new direction. What's next for most people, right, is an entirely new mindset. Whether it's about your health, whether it's about your eating, whether it's about your relationships, your professional life, it requires a rehaul. It requires a new path, a new plan, if you will. And that plan has to be loaded and focused and intentional on things that provide you the opportunity to get to your ultimate goal. And if those things do not provide you that opportunity for your ultimate goal, then they just don't belong in your life. And that's how you get alignment. The three major questions to ask yourself: what do you want out of life and why? What do you want out of life and why? Okay? The next question is, who are you spending time with and why? The third question, how are you taking care of your body and why? Because you see, once you know where you want to go, if you're smart, you're going to now associate with people who are going to aid you in moving you in that direction. If you're associating with people and things that are counterproductive to your ultimate goal, you are now retarding your chances of attaining your ultimate goal, which just doesn't make any sense. All right? So the people you hang around are very important. All right? They say, you show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future. It's true. It takes energy to hang around people. People pour into you, negative or positive, and you pour into them. You want to be around people and you want to associate with people who are pouring into you the right substances that are going to aid you to getting to your ultimate goal. And then last but not least, how are you taking care of your body? Because for most of us, I know for me in particular, my goals that I have for myself in 3, 5, 10 years, right, are heavily dependent on how I take care of myself. You know, I used to see this all the time, and it was something that when I was a broker, when I had clients talking to them about the retirement, it was one of those things that always bothered me. I would see people come in that had immaculate retirement plans. You know, they were detailed retirement plans. You know, they were laid out, they were saving the money, they had all the assets, they had this, they had that. But what they also had was poor and failing health. And I remember looking at it, several of them, and thinking to myself, your plans sound great, but you're not going to make it. Because your health doesn't match your goals. How you're taking care of your body doesn't match your goals. I'm looking at you amassing all this money, but I'm understanding that there's a high likelihood that by the time this retirement comes, if you're not dead, you're going to be spending a lot of your money on health care. You're not going to be able to enjoy it. So taking care of yourself, health-wise, okay, is very important in the attainment of your goal, in the alignment of your life and purpose. Because the person who is truly aligned cares for themselves, they love themselves, they appreciate themselves. And anybody that cares, loves, and appreciates themselves must take care of their health. And by your health, we're not just talking about your physical health, we're talking about physically, mentally, and spiritually. You cannot allow yourself to be compromised or contaminated physically, mentally, and spiritually. So you have to do things on a regular and daily basis that build your physical, mental, and spiritual health. That is all part of your alignment. So the question for Thoughtful Thursday is, are you aligned? I would love to hear your comments on that. Are you aligned? Have you figured out what you want out of life and why do you want that? Have you analyzed who you're hanging out, who you're spending your time with? And by who, we also got to remember now, it's not just people. It's, shows we watch, it's channels we follow, it's, people we follow on social media. Those are, people and things that we associate with. Are those things adding to you? All right. And last but not least, your health. Okay. Something to think about. Thoughtful Thursday, right? Anyway, that's all I have for you guys. Have a fantastic day. And remember, you have the key to unlocking your unlimited. But the only way to do that is you have to be intentional about it. It's not just going to happen. It's something that you must do for you if you really want to get on the better side of life, if you will. All right? Later.